Humans were the latecomers to the grand scheme that was the pattern arrayed throughout the spaces of time. They were the finishing of universal evolution. Humankind, however, should not be relegated to the backbenches simply because they were last. Understand this: humans were born hurriedly and passed away as swiftly. They flitted through measured time in the blink of an eye. Long-lived races could not fathom them, and sometimes did not credit them with intelligence. For how was haste meaningful? Yet, because time passed so swiftly, humans evolved at speeds that put the long-lived to shame. Intelligence was inherent. The need to question and reach out to beyond known theory was ingrained from birth, as was the desire to excel, grow, and be counted. Humans reached for the stars. They failed and succeeded, and went beyond theory. They became great players in the pattern, and soon filled spaces previously believed sacrosanct, and came to the notice of others. Naming them as unintelligent was a grave error. Haste led to terrible calamity. First among those was the growth factor. Numerous worlds had borne the brunt of population explosions. Life was cheap, life was polluted, and life was meaningless. In this, their actions paralleled what others thought of them. In the final analysis, humans were capable of greatness and had attained it, and were able to sink into the depths. They did that as well. Blood stained rivers red, and sound was sighs of the dying. This was the aftermath. Man had fought man, nation had destroyed nation, and continents were denuded of sanity. It was time to leave. It was time to begin afresh somewhere isolated, somewhere forgotten. There were 4 ships, and aboard were the survivors of Holocaust. There were close on 30,000, numbers enough to start again. 10 years ago, they were 4 billion. The bombs fell and death was the result. If that had been the end, life would have risen from those ashes. But that was not the end. Neighbor turned on neighbor as hunger took hold. The tale was known. Alas, for it happened before and would again. The worst one could imagine was as nothing compared to the reality. Nothing remained considered worth saving, and thus the 4 ships lifted into the heavens and labored through dark and smog until they were beyond the pull of the planet. It happened a long time ago, and the name of the world was now lost, as were the designs of ships better suited to adrift to the local moon. Their story was not unique, and they were one event among thousands. Who remembered everything? The 4 ships drifted and there was no hope. Fuel was soon gone, as was food. Oxygen would vanish next. The universe was not static, and laws were questionable where spaces thinned and stretched. The 4 ships drifted into such a thinning, where no known laws held, and passed beyond the barriers of the known, into the unknown. By accident, the survivors entered a parallel universe, and it changed everything. It saved them from certain death.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.